You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into...
Horus and Seth. As further famous story about same-sex intercourse can be found in the Papyrus Ilahun, dating back to the Middle Kingdom, right? It contains the nearly completed preserved story of Osiris myth, and the legendary fight for the throne of Egypt between Horus and Seth. So there was a fight, a legendary fight, right? The chapter in question reports that Seth was unutterably jealous about his young nephew Horus, because Horus was very young and popular. He was quite pampered by the other gods. Oh boy. Seth instead had very few companions, and he was comparatively unpopular because of his what this word is, choleric and vindictive behavior. I don't know what this word is, but let me see. Bad temper. Okay. Irritable, or irritated, bad temper, irritable. Basically, he was a bitch, right? As a result, Seth tried to either chase away or even kill Horus, no matter what the cost. Them gods trying to murder each other. When Seth continually failed, he plans to humiliate his rival so badly that Horus would be banned from Egypt forever. Seth invites Horus to a party and convinces the teenage Horus to drink more than Horus could normally cope with. When Horus is drunk, Seth seduces him. What? I read it right. Seth seduces him to sleep over the night in one bed together. When lying together in bed, Seth grabs Horus and rapes him. I just want to stop right here. But it's mockery time, going on. But Horus tricked Seth. His drunkenness was staged. Why he laying in the bed? Anyway, he catches Seth's semen with his hand and hides it. What the fuck? And this is in the papyrus. Where is it? This is in the papyrus, their book. Okay? Yeah. Right? And hides it. What the I read it good. Horus catches Seth's semen and hides it. Next morning, Horus runs to his mother Isis to tell her what happened. Isis is first speechless with rage and disbelief. Then she decides to return the like on Seth. She cuts off Horus' hand. What the fuck? And lubricates Seth's semen. What? Let me read it good. Wait. She cuts off Horus' hand and lubricates Seth's semen on Seth's favorite food, Egyptian lettuce or whatever. Okay. What the? Hey man, it's crazy. Totally clueless. Seth eats the manipulated lettuce. I think it's lettuce, right? Okay, lettuce. So he was how you call that thing? He was a vegetarian, right? Weakling. But anyway, no. Vegetables actually do make you strong. I'm just joking. Then he goes to the divine court to inform on Horus. At first, the divine judges swear at Horus, but then Thoth, the scribe of the court, calls for Seth's semen to come out of the body of Horus. The semen instead comes out of the body of Seth. Seth blushes in embarrassment and shock, then flees. Horus is acquitted. What the fuck? Shit. The famous rape of Horus by his jealous uncle is also subject to passionate discussion. While most scholars agree that the papyrus clearly describes rape, it must remain open. What? It must remain open? Did you read what he did, man? Anyway. If it actually describes a homosexual-driven deed, background of the dispute are Seth's motives. He does not love Horus. In contrast, he hates his nephew, and the rape was clearly performed to humiliate Horus. Man, you a faggot. What the fuck? The only common ground between the rape and homosexuality is that the act was of same-sex nature, which is faggotism. But some scholars are not so sure on and point out that Seth was often credited with questionable sexual interests. Right? For example, Seth once tried to seduce his own sister Isis. In another story, Seth makes clear overtures to Horus. So this is what the hell is this? Is their god? It's unbelievable. Okay, here you have another Egyptian piece. A Ramesside period. I think it was from Ramses. Ostracon, right? Depicting a homosexual couple in coitus. Two men having sex together. Yeah, that's Egyptian, man. That's Egypt for you, right? Ancient Egyptian views, right? It remains unclear what exact views the ancient Egyptian fostered about faggotism. Any document or literature that actually contains sexual-oriented stories never named the nature of the sexual deed. What the fuck are you talking about? Yo, man, if you're doing this, it doesn't matter if you're in love or not, you a fag. What are you talking about? Right? But instead uses stilted or flowery paraphrases, right? You hella right, you're flowery, right? A man with a pink flower in his hair. Well,
so now that these two are brother and sister, now Seth, he kills. Who does Seth kill?
You're telling the story. Now you want me to tell your story?
The story.
No, you tell the story. No, you tell the story.
He kills Osiris.
Osar, that's his name.
Osar, okay.
Osiris is the Greek name.
Conventional, what we're saying is
Greek. That's Greek.
Yeah, the Greek is named Osiris.
So he kills his brother, and he mutilates his body into 14 parts.
Yes.
His sister resurrects him. His sister and wife, according to the text, resurrects him. Yeah, and for 13 pieces, and resurrects him, and then has Horus the child. Yes. Now Seth, he's jealous of Horus throughout the life. Now this is what the KEMET outlines.
Right.
Yeah, and I want you to tell me the moral principle for this story is, because go Seth, he calls, and you tell me, you can smile, but it's an interesting story. I want to know what the moral is. Seth, I want to know the moral. Seth, he goes, has a banquet. He calls Horus, and then he sodomizes Horus. Now I don't want to use this language, I apologize, but it's very interesting.
I don't know that story.
Okay, no, it's called pederasty. Yeah, you can look for it.
I don't know that story.
Okay, you check the veracity on the cameras. Yeah? You'll go afterwards, you check it.
Okay.
And then what happens is a very peculiar, and I feel very uncomfortable telling the story. I don't want you to get upset, but I do want you to tell me the.
You want to tell it, so just say.
Yeah.
Because you want to get out, so just say.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So then the son Horus pretends that he is drunk. He captures the
semen in the
He captures the semen in the hand. He washes his hand, not in letters. Yeah? He washes his hand in the river. Now, then what happens is that he feeds his own semen in letters to his uncle. And then the uncle complains to the higher gods. The higher gods. He complains to the higher gods. Now the higher god says, whoever has sperm in them, because if you were the one who was done upon, i.e. there's a homosexual and he has sex with another one, if you were the one that is done upon, it is a humiliating position. So then in the higher gods they were told, come forth sperm. Now the sperm of Horus
came out from Seth.
It came out from Seth's mouth, as here the letters. The sperm of the other guy came from the river. So now tell us, what is the moral of these kind of stories?
I don't know.